When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome in to the Racers Elite Series here, and tonight we're having a bit of a special event. We're running 175 laps at Iowa in the Xfinity car for a free and open community race here tonight on Maconi Entertainment. I'm Sky Shrek, and I'm joined up here in the booth and the producer's chair tonight by Howie Burrows. Howie, tell us a little bit about Iowa.
It's not the first time I've covered Xfinity cars at Iowa this week. It is a little dastardly short track. Even with the repave, it's hard to get around here fast. And outside of the wall, these Xfinity cars provide plenty of slide along the way as you travel around this only 0.85 miles of high banking throughout. It's a short track like nothing else.
Yeah, there's a couple comparisons you can make here, but none of them are really spot on. I guess you could say it's a bit of a longer, lower banked Richmond. That might be maybe the best one you have here for Iowa. It is quite a unique racetrack. These drivers are getting to the end of qualifying right now. We've got a couple more cars running laps for our 18-car field tonight. There's this Jack Clemens, who I do not believe has set a lap yet. This would be his first one, but he's going to get loose. He'll reset it back to the pits, and he'll take one more try to set a lap time here tonight at Iowa. We got 175 laps on the board. Pretty reasonable track temp tonight as this race is going to go from day into night. Bit of an evening race here. 92 degrees is the current track temp. We'll have 70% fuel load for this race. 5 tire sets available, 4 in the pits, 1 on the car. DQ'd for 25 incident points. Don't think we'll see that here tonight. And you got 1 faster pair if you need it for this race. Jack Clemens will take one more shot here down the back straightaway on lap 2.
He's proven why it's hard. He's proven why it's hard right here. I don't envy anyone that heads out on a scorching hot Iowa. Your car loves to slide up and around either to the left wall or to the right wall. I think that makes it a lap, and it's not, and it is for P9.
Yeah, I'll go 9th out of the 12 cars there who have set a lap time in qualifying. We've got a couple more hanging around here in the session further back in the field, like Sean Dunaway, Barry Tollison, who I believe will be running tonight's race, but who have not set a lap time back there. And we are going to wrap up this qualifying session over the next 2 minutes before we start tonight's From Your Experience in calling Xfinity at Iowa.
So, Friday Night Lights here. We're on this channel earlier this week, and what I found is in the long run, drivers were very tempted to run others down to the bottom on the dark banking, and they just wouldn't have the long run pace. And its drivers were able to hit that middle, the upper end of that newly repaved track that had the most success. This track very recently rescanned in iRacing, so not many people have really had the chance to master and tame it, let alone in real life in here. Even less time, less than a season old here. But I find it's really, really, really wonderful long-run consistency. You can get past and around people, but you have to work it to make it work around here.
Yeah, that is a good point about the repave. This track was repaved very recently, a year ago in real life, and this rescan is from right after the repave. So it's a big difference from how the old Iowa used to be. If you ran here about a year ago on iRacing before the repave, you would be sliding around this track at every possible opportunity. The track was slick, it was hard to drive, and you were always kind of leaning on the edge of control with how loose your car was. It's not like that anymore. There is a lot more grip in that newer, blacker asphalt that you see in the corners down on the bottom of the track. And whereas before you could barely get on the throttle in that patch of asphalt down at the bottom. You can almost run it full throttle out of the corner now up until you reach that old asphalt. It's a very different way of running this racetrack. It's one with a lot more grip, and I think it's one that maybe favors drivers who are willing to make moves and who are willing to push hard. I know from some experience running here this week, tire strategy can play a big role in things. Even if you've only got about 5% wear on your tires, that's enough for you to get blown past by a faster driver. And track temp isn't too high tonight, so we shouldn't see too much tire wear, but it is going to play a factor in tonight's race, just like it does pretty much anywhere we go at a short track. Qualifying has just finished, and we should be able to show you the starting lineup here before too long. We've got 12 drivers who have taken the time, 18 out here in total. On pole tonight will be the 44 car of John Ross, with Jeffrey Goodpaster on his outside in the 6. Steve Sizemore is going to roll off third in the 08 tonight, with Andrew Teft fourth in the 98. Terry Fennell goes from 5th in the 50, with Dwayne Davis 6th in the 27. 7th place tonight is going to be Dennis Kane in the 4. Steve Castle will roll off 8th in the 1. And starting out back in your top 10 is Jack Clemens. You saw him make his quali run in the 2. Jack Kelly in the 24.
Looks like more drivers than just the 12 are hitting the grid. As they stand here, Frank Chavez sits 11th and next to Chris Gatzel. I'm going to get names wrong all night. I'm British, it's who I am. Sean Dunway is in 13th next to Barry Tollison. Timothy Eastbrand in 15th next to Dave Shively. And scheduled for the grid are Barry Nelson and Blake Davis. Looks like we do have 17 cars that are actually going to hit the track today. So a few that just chose not to qualify. They're all lined up. 175 laps. They can go by around here. We do have manual race control for cautions, although manual race control for black flags, although all cautions will be iRacing called. Hopefully we won't have too many of those throughout this race. We can get some proper long run action going.
Yeah, we should see, I would say, maybe a couple more green flag runs here tonight, because we are running with a bit of a smaller field. That tends to lead to cleaner racing and more green flag runs. And tire wear is definitely going to play a role in these runs. Because when you run a B-fix type race here, it's harder to get those long runs compared to a league race. So some of these drivers might not have kind of the experience tire saving here that they might need to make it 175 laps tonight at Iowa.
Well, I believe they make it 2 to green around here. It being less than a mile, they give us more to talk about as we go, I guess. Old Iowa, I used to just run the top and I didn't really care. And then there was just one horrific just bump at the top of the track if you did this. And you'd basically be sent airborne if you weren't prepared for it. Your wheel would get shocked. I have not mastered this new track. It's in the Gen 4 Cup this week, and I have done nothing but wreck the car and others. And these cars sure aren't easy to tame. I call them the best modern stock cars. I'm sure you would agree. But they do have that slide in them. They do have that character in them. And they can make for very unique racing.
Yeah, the bottom will be a lot more powerful here. Like you said, at Old Iowa, before the repave, the top usually was the preferred line. With this new extra bit of grip from the new pavement at the bottom, you see a lot of cars here running the bottom at this new style. John Ross and Jeffrey Goodpaster are going to be on the front row. We'll slip into the restart zone, and the green flag will fly at Iowa. Troubles immediately there for Timothy Yisbrand. Went straight to the back of the field, down on the apron towards the start of the race. Battle still going up front here, but John Ross has the spot at the moment. Goodpaster is looking a little further down the track here as we enter into 1 and 2, but it's a pretty comfortable lead for Ross as we hit the back straightaway.
Had some smooth, small breakaways from this top 3. Andrew Teft in 4th, not really catching this freeway battle. And freeway battles can be dicey around here because for a track so short, there's a ton of space. You don't really want to race free wide. We are yellow with Frank Chavez.
Oh. Yeah, Frank Chavez wrecked there in turn 3. We're going to need to get a replay to see how that happened, but an issue very early in the race for that 13 car, working off into 3. This is going to be coming out of turn 2, rolling down the back straightaway. This wreck is going to be on entry to 3 for Frank Chavez. He'll head down the track. Oh, there's contact. 2 pieces of contact between those 2 cars. He goes down into Barry Nelson, who kind of slides up the racetrack, pushes him up the road, and that gets him into the 51 car of Steve Kasel and sends him around. And then there's some kind of extracurricular at the end of that from Jack Kelly. I think Jack Kelly might have actually got the worst of it there in that 24 car. That was a pretty big hit.
For all incidents in these races, elite races, including today, admins will give an end of line for the first penalty, an end of line plus a drive-through for the second, and then they will black flag you and retire you from the race on the third. So we may see that come through, and we may see them work out some fault, but that is a fairly tricky incident. Sort of one thing led to another. Check up ahead, fast car back behind, and sort of everyone ends up in trouble. Here's Jack Kelly, one fast repair available for these cars. I'm not really sure you want to take it this early, but it's going to be hard to take these repairs without going a lap down.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to get those in there. No penalty will be assessed on this caution. Was deemed a netcode related at fault for that one. And we will continue on our way as if it didn't happen here once we go back green. Couple cars are in the pits. As mentioned, you see Jack Kelly there. Frank Chavez also going to come down to try to fix some damage. But everybody else, Steve Kasel involved in that, seemingly doesn't have too much damage on their cars, and they're able to stay out.
Kelly takes the fast repair straight out of the gate. Chavez is going to try and hang around for another caution, I think, to try and earn this lap back. Or we'd have to get going right now. Usually when they start to enter that start-finish, the car looks okay. Could have some strange balance, but probably not ruined. There's a long, long race ahead and plenty more pit stops planned for the drivers as well. The rest of them, fields coming out of 4, getting ready for their 1 to green lap.
Yeah, it's not ideal for Frank Chavez, but if you want to have an incident like that, you want to have it early in the race. He's also saved the fast repair too on that car, so while he is going to be going through this run with a little bit of damage, he still has that in his back pocket in case he gets caught up in something else or just decides he needs to use it to fix the car here down the stretch. He's always got that option. He's in a little bit of a better position compared to Jack Kelly, who does not have that option and who did take his fast repair there on lap 5. Gonna head to lap 7 here, and I believe this will be the one to go. It'll still be John Ross going off from your front row, but Jeffrey Goodpaster, I believe, came down pit road. He did, in fact, come down pit road. Looks like it might have been maybe just a fuel only or a stop and go. I'm not sure what happened to that car, but he didn't put any tires on it. And your second place starter will go back to P15.
Maybe a fuel top up for long run. 10-second pit stop. Played a long game on these drivers a bit. We do have the limited fuel tank, so the strategy is going to play a factor more than anything else. If we were to green flag race, it would take just over an hour all the way to the end, and there would definitely be stops in the middle of there, but there might be more incidents where that came from around here. John Ross gets to lead the field into the next restart.
Yeah, this early in the race, I don't think fuel mileage is going to play a role in this, especially because we don't have stages here or anything as well, which is also kind of an interesting call there. John Ross will lead them off. Steve Sizemore on his outside. Good jump for that 44 car. We're back green at Iowa. Ross is going to lead him down pretty well here. Sizemore files out to second, but the big battles are going on further back. To see Tollison back there side by side with Dennis Kane in that 4 car. And you've got a couple cars getting racy as we enter turn 3 further back in the field. Right now, John Ross still leads up front.
Sizemore's in that place now. Reed just wants to be all over that rear bumper. The gap quite large out behind. I want to watch the line that Ross wants to take. Whether he hits all the way to the bottom or whether he just heads a little bit off. He's hitting the bottom the entire way. You could get a momentum run, a lane up as the run goes on, but now probably just trying to hit marks quite early for consistency's sake. Last time I saw runs on the inside not really work. It's a very different style of racing already, with drivers hugging that white line the whole way around.
I think with a bit of a cooler track temp here, you want to be on the part of the track that has the most grip, and here at Iowa, that is that new pavement. You're seeing John Ross on exit. He's sliding up the racetrack to try and hit that bit of new pavement further up. Ooh, contact here down into 1. It's a big move for Steve Sizemore in that 8 car. He might get the spot here. They were on each other's door rolling through 1 and 2, and the 8 will get clear. New leader as we hit lap 11. Actually, I'm not going to speak too soon because John Ross is going to come right back at him.
We're moving other drivers 11 laps into a 175 lap race. I think John Ross might remember the way he was moved up the track there, and I bet some favor could be returned. These drivers, I've been told very, very good things from all the Maconi Entertainment colleagues about Racers Elite. From the first week they picked up these guys, they were like, oh, these guys are a cut above. And I hadn't really, known, because I don't watch all the shows, because it's 2 a.m. over here, would you believe it or not. This is a special occasion. And I'm seeing some of that racing graft at the front already. A lot of aggression, but both drivers keeping it together.
Yeah, John Ross will have to re-rack there if he wants to be able to get the move done on Sizemore further back. Big send for Jack Kelly around Chris Gagskull going further back in the field in that 707 machine. We're side by side a little further up the road there. That's Steve Kasel on the outside of up there, Jeffrey Goodpaster. And then you've got David Shively working right up in front of that group.
Almost looked like they were sending it free. Big send on the inside for the 6. He actually has the momentum to clear this out on exit. Usually you would really struggle in the mid-corner, and it's actually Kasel behind who sent it all the way to the top, and he's just dropped places back entirely on the back of that. So that's what this Iowa presents to you. I think we've seen quite a few big bold sends already. Here's Barry Tolson up at the front. He wants to make this a 3-horse race.
He is. He'll try to look to the inside there of John Ross, but he's not having anything going into 1. Needs to be a little bit closer if he is to make that move happen in that 28 car. Big number on the side of that thing for Barry Tollison as he tries to pursue. John Ross will look a little high, switch it back down, maybe trying to find a way to get a run off the corner and get to the inside of the 44.
This battle for first staying as it is for 10th and 11th with 2 wide, 2 rows again. Now it is free. Big moves. I think it's at, gotta work out which car number that is. A 24 from my perspective. It's a 46 on the side of the car. That's a paddling. That's a paddling. Again, sending it quite deep inside and moving the other up the track.
Jack Kelly, that driver who came down and had to take his faster pair on the move, trying to get his spots back, and he's way up the track into the side of David Shively back there. That car, that 85 car, is not going to be real happy about that one. He'll drop quite a few spots and fall under threat from Dwayne Davis back behind. We'll get a replay of what happened into the corner. He's so low on entry, and it just goes right up the road.
Did not see that car on the outside. I heard a little resigned "come on man" on the mic as that contact finished. Not a big fan, but we're all in one piece still. Wonder how long that's going to last. Barry Tollison now trying this high side attack. Oh, a little bit loose on exit. Steve Sizemore, he's going to be a fan of this, watching this in his rearview mirror.
Yes, these two go too wide. That will help Sizemore run some better lap times here. Almost in the wall for Barry Tollison out of turn 2. That gives the advantage once more to John Ross down into 3 and 4. Tollison seems to be a little better on exit. He's getting good runs out of the corners. Maybe not so much there because he got loose. But he is gaining time on that 44. He's just struggling to actually get the pass done. I don't think it's going to be too long before we see tire wear really start to play a role in these battles and it get really hard to make a pass.
Tollinson started 14th. He's our big climber so far. Rest of these top drivers started in their modestly high positions. Further back, there's a lot of movement up and down this back. Jack Kelly and Shively still battling. Sean Dunway has been able to chase down Dennis Kane, and they've been trading places just a little bit. Further down the road, Clemens leads a train of Fennel and Goodpaster. So there's something happening no matter where you look on this track right now, even with 17.
Yeah, tight battles going on all over this place right here. See that too, Jack Clemens continue to just try to defend the inside to hold off Terry Fennel behind him. That car is up quite a few spots. We saw him go 9th in quali, and he's got it back rolling into that 5th position, one of our biggest movers in tonight's race. Barry Tollison, 14-3, is your biggest mover, and John Ross is now taking a peek to the outside of Steve Sizemore in the 08. Battle for the lead, trying to brew.
You've talked about passing being hard here, and its experience I've seen so far. These really big sends up the inside seem to be the only thing that's working, and a driver that's able to hold that lane lower a little bit better is able to hold that off. Big smack into the wall by Barry Tollinson. Yeah, that's going to slow him down and send him out this chase for now. They are trading this back and forth, but you don't get your passes based on a big run because, I mean, just look at how long this straight is. Basically, it doesn't even exist straight into the turn. You have to set someone up for lap after lap after lap and slowly break them down, and then you might succeed.
Yep, Iowa runs a little bit like a short track. It's not like a typical intermediate. You have to set the passes up and get them down in the turns because you don't have the advantage of those long straightaways to help you get the move done. Looking further back, Jeffrey Goodpaster continues to try to move his way back up into a good position here. Started in 2nd, took a pit stop, went back to 15th. But he's gotten that car back up to 7th, making good time behind the wheel of that 6th machine at the moment. Full field, single file, but Goodpaster is trying to change that.
Something worth noting for a track this short is that cars get lapped very, very quickly. Here's our last place car, Timothy Isbrand. I'm going to go with Isbrand. I think that's the closest we're going to get to the pronunciation on that. And then there's John Ross, and as you can tell, they're not that far apart on the track. 0.85 miles means that you will run into traffic very quick, and battles for the top get influenced by that lap traffic super fast. In some leagues and some tracks, it's sort of a matter of near the end of the race, but it's merely a matter of time at Iowa.
Battles can be very close here at these short tracks. Just looking at some of the guys who have moved up. Obviously, Barry Tollison has gone 14-3 in the early part of this race. Sean Dunaway up from 13 to 8th. Then you've got David Shively up 16-11. Jack Clemens 9-5. So a couple drivers finding their way through the field, and a couple drivers maybe doing the opposite. It's not been a great start for Dwayne Davis in the 27. He continues to lose positions. He's struggling to catch Jack Kelly in the 24. He's gone from 6th to 13th. He just seems to be having some problems keeping that 27 car down on the bottom here pretty early in this run. He might have something here if he sticks it to the outside on that 24 car. Let's see. 24 misses the corner entirely, and Dwayne Davis should get that spot back. He'll go up to 12th.
There's something so strange about a NASCAR track having this designated, like, dark pass here zone where they only decide to pave half of it, and then they decided, actually, we really like that. That's Jack Kelly eating at the wall just a little. Shively is pressuring Cassell in much the same way as our next closest battle on the grid for P10. But yeah, there's something just really, really odd about like having this like no-go zone on the top. I mean, a lot of tracks, they have a certain groove and a certain lane, but there are very few that just put it in dark modern asphalt and like point you to it, like go here.
If you remember when NASCAR would use PJ1, the grip tape at a bunch of tracks like Bristol, it's almost a little bit like that here in Iowa, because the amount of grip you're getting down on that bottom versus up on the top is astounding. It's why so many of these drivers are exiting the corners on that little extended piece of asphalt there that reaches out onto the straightaway. That is the fastest way you're going to exit because there's just more grip there. As we have Dunaway up the inside of Jeffrey Goodpaster there. This is going to be for P7, and he will get the spot.
Must say, as a scan though, this is very year one. The actual track's already aged significantly if you see the photos. The comeback is coming here from Goodpaster. Seems as if people that are making the pass are not quite jumping that bottom lane, and bottom has been more dominant in these track conditions than earlier in the weeks running. So seeing more drivers hug that line and get a better result out of it. Sean Dunway's able to hold it back. Goodpaster after a good attempt there up the inside, but it looked treacherous. It looked like he was just going to have that place back.
See if you can get that place back. Laps already ticking down, 35 out of 175. It's a long race here at Iowa. A lot of ways to go for these cars, but you've got to be on it at all times. You got to make sure you don't burn those tires up too early, or else you could be in trouble. Here's a battle a little further back in the field. This is, I believe, looking a little further back, this is Jack Kelly getting passed by Barry Nelson in the 196. This 24 car he's not having a good time. I've seen him go back about 6 seconds here just in the last few laps. He's kind of diamonding, but I don't know if it's like an intentional diamond. I think it's more of a please help me, I have destroyed my tires type of diamond. He was running a 24.415 at the start of this run here and a 26.612 last time around. Extreme amounts of fall off for Jack Kelly, who is struggling badly.
I mean, no matter what, it's good racing because both cars seem to jump to the bottom and then head all the way up to the top on exit. It's like a coordinated ballet here. The 24, I'm going to go refer to their iRacing numbers. Both of them have failed here. The 24 jumps all the way to the bottom. The 196 goes all the way up to the wall, and they just seem to trade it back and forth. A little bit further up. Oh, what a jump cut. Terry Fennell is trying to do the same to Sean Dunway again.
I think Dunaway just got around that car not too long ago here. Just about one lap ago, and now Fennell is still riding on the bumper of the 01, trying to get that spot back for P6 at the moment. And Jack Kelly has been disqualified from the session. So he is going to be done for the race in that 24 car. He was just given a DQ.
Manual DQ from race control. See if we can catch the exact moment that might have set them off. I didn't notice much foul play in the moments beforehand, but that didn't dictate what quite happened in the moment. None there. We'll have to wait to hear a little bit more from race control about what might have led to that one. Didn't quite hear the voice communication at the time. Is Zach Clemens on Sean Dunway. Why do these cars look different? They look different because that's Chris Gaskell. We're doing lap cars already.
Yeah, you've got some lap cars going back to the field. He's lapped along with Timothy Easbrand and Frank Chavez. They've all gone one down in the early stages of this race. Barry Tollison trying to negotiate that car of Easbrand up there on the top, who scraped the wall down the front straightaway. A little sketchy there when the lap car in front of you scrapes the wall, but Tollison seems to be managing pretty fine. Oh, not anymore. He's going to go into the inside wall.
That's
Caution, Barry Tollison is wrecked.
That's your fault. Did we stay at green because he stayed below the line when he spun, and it's iRacing's cautions. Let's just, go back in time for that. We're staying green for that. The 92 gets loose on the edge. That's a lapped car taking out a lead lapped car. That is not going to be viewed upon kindly when that's seen by race control. Let me tell you that. We heard that Jack Kelly, problems with car control and racecraft. They took the early move of dropping him out of the race before that posed to be a problem, but I mean, we've just had bigger problems right there on the track.
Yeah, basically the racer's elite equivalent of a minimum speed violation there for Jack Kelly in that 24 car, and that was not ideal at all for Barry Tollison, running third in the race, and Timothy Easbrand just got into the side of him, took him out. That is not going to feel good for either driver here, because as a leader, you hate to be wrecked by a lap car, and as a lap car, you hate to wreck a leader, so both drivers not feeling too well about what transpired there. Dunaway trying to get around the lap car of Gaskell back there for, it's not really for position, it's more just to pass the lap car. That 707's back in 14th, rolling on that inside lane. Andrew Teft promoted up to 3rd after the issue for Barry Tollison. He's got Jack Clemens on his bumper, and the two of them are in pursuit of a struggling Steve Sizemore. He might have pushed too fast, too early.
We're really starting to reach that point now where these tyres are hitting their limit. 46 laps on the tyres for all of these drivers, and nobody has changed them in a stop yet. Sizemore holds the top. I'm keeping an eye on Clemens. He might try and take advantage of this situation. The 98 of Andrew Teft. He has the inside, almost a space on the outside. I swear Zach was ready to take that. He is looking like he wants to pounce like an absolute shark. Very high for Sizemore here. That might give up the spot. I don't think that car's driving at its best. You're right.
No, he was really pushing for the lead there to get the lead in the early stages of this race, and it's kind of backfired because he seems to be lacking in grip now in the second half of this run. We mentioned tire wear is going to be a huge factor here tonight. Always is at Iowa, and Steve Sizemore is around, saves it, but the caution flies.
That was to do with the lap car got in the way and just sort of caused a bit of a checkup here. That's Barry Nelson in the 196 up ahead, and I think this is just a series of unlucky accidents that turn out not as bad, thankfully. He does try and get out the way up there on the top, but actually no, that's the 8. He's cutting himself across the nose of the 2, not quite clear, and just about gets away with it with a little bit of aero damage to the rear. That will buff out.
Yeah, he just tried to get down to the inside there, saw that lap car coming up in front of him and didn't want to be held up, and just wasn't clear down to the inside there, turned himself around off the nose of that 2 car of Jack Clemens. I think we're going to see a lot of pit stops here. Should be the whole field coming down for new tires on lap 49.
It is indeed the whole field except for the lap cars. Everybody on they have to wait another lap, and everybody on lead lap gets to do this one together. John Ross does get the first pit box as a consequence of being on pole. Makes it in well. Should be 4 tyres for everybody. Look at that, 6 behind, whether it slots into the box well. He doesn't. He's missed the box. He's going back a few more places than he already was. Big charge out by the 2. It's a race on pit road between Teft and Clemens. Teft takes it.
I would like to update Barry Tollison has disconnected from the session, so he will join Jack Kelly in our DNFs here tonight. John Ross continues to hold the lead of this race, but as you said, there will be a new car up there on the front row with him for this restart. That'll be Andrew Teft in the 98. Jack Clemens, Steve Sizemore behind. One thing to mention at Iowa, because we're seeing some drivers post their tire wear, 92% on the right sides. The tire wear is not strictly what will get you here. The tire overheating can be very bad here at Iowa. With these quick turns and not a lot of space to cool them down on the straightaways, very easy to overheat your rubber here.
Even in temperatures that aren't scorching hot, I do generally find this track trends on the slick no matter where you run. I mean, to be honest, and, you know, I'm sorry if you take this personally, but given that this track is the only thing in the entire state, pretty much, I mean, it's corn, it doesn't grow high enough to take in the sun. So, yeah, it's getting hot and it's being down. It's going to cause a little bit of sliding. Racing deal ruled between the 2 and the 08.
So yeah, no driver will receive a penalty for that accident between those 2 cars. It'll be John Ross and Andrew Teft holding steady up front. Jack Clemens, Steve Sizemore behind. Sean Dunaway, Jeffrey Goodpaster, Terry Fennell, Dennis Kane, David Shively, and Steve Kasel. Your top 10 at the moment. We'll go back green here on lap 53 out of 175 here at Iowa. Howie, what are you watching on this next restart?
Well, everybody starting this one from scratch. We've basically reset our race now of 120 laps to go. And I think everybody's taken lessons and they've learned from how that first long run went. It got quite a convenient reset, quite a convenient time. John Ross has been strong. I expect him to hold this unless there is something wild on this restart.
He's been good in the early stages of this race, and he's done a good job of managing the tires while he's in that lead. He's on new rubber now. Let's see how he gets off on the restart. Green flag's out. Good jump for John Ross. He and Jack Clemens are going to get well clear down into turn 1. Teft struggling on the top.
That outside line checked up and did not start with any urgency today, and that's given the inside exactly what they want. Multiple shots into the wall. Terry Fennell first into the wall and now around into it. That's 3 cars collected.
Oh. That's Steve Kasel getting airborne there off the nose of Dwayne Davis. What a big hit.
Already took the wall shot, and then this just built and built and built. Multiple drivers slammed into it on the exit. Started with that 6 up ahead, but then he just ran into by the 4. Up and around 61. Very little space to go. 27 holds it up to the top as well. I'd like to keep an eye on maybe what Dwayne Davis's view was like for that race restart. He was the 3rd car collected in that wreck.
Yeah, Terry Fennell there was the one going around. We'll watch Dwayne Davis on the nose here. It was a big hit to the rear end of Steve Kasel for this 27 car. We'll see right here. No, he's going to go straight into the back of him there. Ooh.
Kind of could see him coming. Maybe thought the track would self-clean that one out. 2 to green again. A few more wrecks collected and a few more drivers having used their fast repairs. This includes Steve Kasel on the fast repair. Terry Fennell, Dwayne Davis. Barry Tomlinson already used his before he retired from the race. We're going to keep an eye out for race control on that one. I mean, there's been a few racing deals called so far. We've not seen any significant in the race penalties other than the DQ. Number 2's got some bad damage on the rear, so you can get a good shot of that. I don't see it from here, buddy. Hearing the time review under yellow might be limited. Race control will try and get to this in time, but we are 2 to green. Still 1 to green very soon. These laps do fly by relatively fast, even under caution. That 56 out of 175 here in this open Racers Elite special race, Xfinity at Iowa. And, well, how long do we run it green, Sky?
Well, we will see. We would very much like a green flag run here. These drivers are not going to be good on fuel. I believe it'll be 2 more stops here with the 70% fuel load. Usually you can go a little longer. Maybe you'd be able to 1 stop 175, but with that lesser fuel load, I think you'll see 2 stops here if we were to go green for the rest of the race. EOL penalty given out to the 4 of Dennis Kane. Believe he might have requested that one, and he will slide to the back.
Listening to the race control, he says it's quite borderline, but could have gone a little lower, and that will be the EOL. That's the what I've heard on the race control chat. Not too much time to sort it out, but I think they will just about to get that in line in time. John Ross to start the race again. These stop-start races can really mess with you. That top lane absolutely sluggish last time around. Now, Jack Clemens has to run it. So we'll see if he can get a good enough jump, unlike on the last restart when somebody else held up that line.
John Ross, Jack Clemens back to green. It's Ross getting the jump there on the bottom. Once again, he gets a really good jump on these restarts, but Clemens held up a little better than Teft did on that last restart. And Clemens is going to have something on that high side. Can he get clear of the 98? Yes, he will. That's that 2 car up into P2. but Clemens with a big, or excuse me, Taft with a big dive down on the inside. We'll try to get the spot back as we hit the front straightaway.
Front straightaway is a term to use to describe it, but we all know what you mean nonetheless. Really, really tight up front, too wide for 4th and 5th place here. Very little separation. Big move across the track, but John Ross tries to cover off. We're not breaking up this pack anytime soon. It goes all the way back to the pink 01 of Sean Dunway.
Oh!
And we have contact again. The 8 of Steve Sizemore. It's an epic save. And we're going to stay green with that.
That's his second big save of the race there, and very similar to the last accident, just came down into the nose of the 6 of Jeffrey Goodpaster. No caution this time, but it's another great save for that car to avoid that accident, going from a bad accident to a much worse accident for him.
These Xfinity cars, though, they're no next gen, and they do bump and bend around if you even touch them with your little pinky finger. So I see damage on that car. It's going to affect the aero balance of the rest of this race. And I find even just getting a bit unbalanced on a track like this, it's not really about pace, it's just about car control. Sometimes the whole thing just falls apart and it stops driving properly. This top 3 quite close. Steve Castle and Terry Fennell still on the track, obviously, running around. With the, it's a 1 and it's a 1 in what, it's a 707 in one view, it's a 27 in another. What can we do about it at this point? I don't know much. Look at this intense group further behind. Quite a few drivers that will start far back after some of these wrecks and want to punch their way up. I'm thinking Steve Sizemore here.
Pass completed for 4th. Jeffrey Goodpaster just got a big move done on David Shively in the 85 car. That 6 car has been slowly rolling back up to the front after that early pit stop put him back, and he is going to try to make it work here. Now under threat is now under threat is Shively again. Sean Dunaway going to be the car passing that 85. The 01 will take 5th, and Shively slides back to 6th. Maybe saving a lot here. That 85 not too quick in the early stages of this run.
Certainly has been dropping like a rock. Started 16th. We were talking about how many positions he gained earlier on in the day, and he started to lose some of them back. 3 seconds back to the rest of the pack. But when you see it, you see an absolute hornet's nest. The 08 of Sizemore, we know he's very, very fast and been sent back a few times. So I think he just wants to do everything to get through that pack. And I'm curious as to how quickly he's able to catch Shively. 3 seconds to make up, but I think that will get done.
Oh, he is definitely trying to move his way back up there. The question is, did he burn up his tires a little bit with that big slide? It certainly didn't help the heat in the tires, and that could maybe cost him some time as he tries to drive his way through. We saw on the last run that the 08 was really quick early and then lost a lot of speed late, and with that spin and with having to pass all of these cars at the back, he might be even more extreme this time on the 08 car. So to stay 1-2, Ross and Clemens still running well up at the front of the pack. Got a blue car battling with a green car back here. I believe that is Gaxel going for P9. Working on the outside of Steve Kasel, who's rolling with some damage in that 51 car down there and is a little bit up the track, almost into Dennis Kane in the 4. Got another green car coming up behind Kasel. That's Frank Chavez. He will try to find his way through. Got that lap back after going down a lap early with damage sustained in an accident. He's trying to recover. He will get around for 11th.
This track is going to start to cool off now as the sun begins to set. We can see it on the horizon coming around, and that should hopefully introduce a little bit more grip, especially as the rubber comes down around here on this track. About 45 minutes of green flag racing remaining if it stays like this. This top 5 still very, very close, but John Ross, he continues to play the game of domination here. He's holding off this train by just playing his own game and playing it really, really well.
He's been doing a good job here in that 44 car. Clemens has been holding pace a lot better than Sizemore did on that first run. I think the two is doing a lot better job of managing his tires compared to Sizemore, and that is keeping him in the fight with John Ross. A lot of cars learned some lessons on that first run when it comes to tire saving, and that's helping Teft, Goodpaster, and Dunaway all stay up here, top 5, under a second, as these cars in the back are actually starting to close in a little.
There's our sunset, and if we look at the other side, we might be able to try and catch how this has become a big race to the bottom. This is so unlike the earlier week's race. Obviously, Friday Night Lights on Maconi Entertainment brings full-length Xfinity every, would you believe it, Friday night. And I'm a good part of bringing you that show as well. So stay subscribed. We've got plenty of racing on this channel, including more Racers Elite as the season goes on. These drivers are plenty skilled on this track, and they are producing some great racing here today. Jack Clemens has been a bit of a dark horse, I think. John Ross has been holding off the drivers very, very well, but Clemens is not slow. It's just now that game about getting past people at Iowa. We know it's not easy.
Yeah, we started off our broadcast tonight by showing Jack Clemens spinning under the qualifying lap, and he didn't set a good time on the lap he did get to take. He was only 9th. Despite that, he's driven it up to 2nd, and he very clearly has something for your leader here, John Ross. Clemens has only gotten better as this race has gone on, and as we approach lap 75 this time around, that 2 car is making some moves. Dunaway also making moves. He's gotten 4th away from Jeffrey Goodpaster in that 6 car, who has dropped back to 5th. Still a long way back, though. David Shively has lost the rear end of this field.
And a wall shot there from Jeffrey Goodpaster. I just want to get a quick chopper shot. I saw some smoke kick up off the back. Maybe my eyes play tricks on me. Who knows? But he is slowing down off the back of here. He's sort of just trying to keep touch with the drivers, I think, and I don't know whether he's just not pushing or whether he's just losing a little bit of touch for him, but you can see that gap growing and growing and growing. It's no Shively, as you've mentioned, who is well and truly just racing a race of his own. Impressively here in P6, but still very much on his own. Just waiting for something, the cars to fall his way, which they may when the pit stops come around. Further back, Dennis Kane is chasing down Terry Fennell, lapped car in front, and Frank Chavez is holding off Chris Gaskell. Also, Timothy Isbrand and Dwayne Davis have a small chase going down.
I think David Shively is kind of just running full save here. He is all in on saving his tires to run them as long as possible, and that might come back to him here in the latter part of the run. He has lost a lot of time in the process, but he might be able to make it work here over the course of the next 20 or 30 laps. Only time will tell if that 85 car is able to get back up to this battle for the lead between John Ross and Jack Clemens. Clemens has been sitting about 2 or 3 tenths behind now since the restart, and he would very much like to get this pass done and lead his first laps of the night.
But there's a game here of like 2 tenths is one thing. 2 tenths is pretty easy. Getting past so much harder. We saw some really aggressive racing earlier on, some moving some other drivers around to try and get track position early. Now it's all calmed down quite a bit, but everyone's on the bottom. Everyone's holding that same line, and it's so hard to get runs here. You just have to exploit mistakes and exploit tire wear. This is a long run race, so much more than it's one where you could make the move in the moment.
Yeah, and we've been running for a while now, and we're not even halfway through. This is quite a long race. John Ross still needs to hold on for a lot longer, even though he's led almost all 80 laps so far in this one. Jack Clemens is slowly but surely reeling him in. That car has not left the wake of the 44 car all run long here, really. And he's going to try once again down on the bottom. Not close enough. The 44 is doing a great job of defending. The 2 is either going to need to try to go a little offline to get a move set up or just move him.
I've seen people succeed with momentum on the high side. Well, not the high side, on the middle. Higher than this. But to get it done, you have to set up your corner and set up your race and be confident in your ability to run long run like that. Jack Clemens, it's clear he's practiced running on this bottom and he just wants to run on the bottom. Oh, I just heard, I don't know if this is a taunt, but John Ross just said, hey Jack, I'll give it up to you now. I've held you up for too long. I don't know if it's a taunt or if I don't know whether something's happened. Jack is saying, I want to race you, don't bother. So mixed messages at the front of this pack. Maybe John Ross just doesn't like being hounded quite this hard.
A little loose off the corner there for the 2. That will not help Jack Clemens' run here on the 44, but he's taking big chunks out, especially on corner entry and a little bit through the corner as well. John Ross is up 3.5 tenths. That's about the biggest lead he's held this entire time, to be quite honest with you. Jack Clemens has been glued to the rear end of that car. He might need to re-rack here and get a little more time as John Ross comes up on his first lap car. That is Steve Kasel in the 1 going a lap down.
Sticking to the high side rather than making it inconvenient kind of gets in the way here of the 0-1 of Sean Dunway, but that's cleared out well in time. I was kind of thinking maybe these lap cars are going to get in the way and be a real inconvenience, but when the field is sort of on the smaller side, it's easier, I think, to get out of the way, whereas in a much bigger field, you're sort of just making your way through collective traffic every single lap and every single turn. Big separation between Clemens and Teft, but Dunway, he's making that exact same chase we're seeing up front. It's like deja vu.
Dunaway is running pretty good lap times back there in that 0-1 car, especially compared to the start of the stint. I think he's done a good job of mitigating the fall off in comparison to some of these other cars back here. And he will look to make that move on Teft. We saw it earlier in this race though. Once the tires start to wear on a run, it can be really difficult to actually get the pass done. As we cross halfway through this race now, we've been on this run for about 30 laps. Tires are starting to get worn, and it's just going to get more and more difficult to actually make the pass here.
Well, if you're behind and you have no tires, you're done. But if you're behind and the person in the front, as you said, tires, that's the game, I think. And that's what these drivers behind are going to hope for. Jack Clemens is just going to hope that Ross uses stuff up more in order to stay ahead. You can't really know these things, though. You just sort of have to make your guesses based upon what you're seeing on the track. We'll take a look at the last 3 laps of both drivers to see if that gives us anything useful. Clemens very slightly faster, but he is now in that bubble where being significantly faster doesn't really do much for you because there's a car in the way.
Every time Clemens loses some time, it's not really hard for that 2 car to pick it straight back up and get back to the bumper of John Ross, but we've said it a couple times. Getting up to his bumper and actually managing to pass him are 2 very different things, and it looks like Ross might let him go here. John Ross moves up high, Jack Clemens through on the bottom, and Ross is not able to get the crossover, so the 2 car will be your new leader on lap 91.
I think it was less maybe goodwill and more sort of I'm burning up my stuff right now and it's not really helping me. That did very much seem like you should see him getting within a couple hundredths every single lap. You just sort of knew that he was going to hound you down to the end of time. John Ross in with a big chance of winning this race if he just sort of manages and conserves for now and he makes that big move later. If I flip the laps to go on the top, it's 84 to go. That makes it more than halfway.
Laps are starting to run down here. You got a car slow on the apron back there. That's Barry Nelson in the 196. He's already 1 lap down, and that car is having some issues, so he's going to go a couple more laps down here in that car. I don't know if there was something that put him down there. Oh, there was something that put him down there. A bit of a ride through the grass for that 196 after getting loose out of turn 4.
I think they should run on the Legends Oval that we see there. Makes you think, doesn't it? Makes you think. Barry Nelson, little bit of a slide, little bit through the grass. That's how I get my 1Xs on oval races around here. But It's good to keep it together, keep those brakes under control, and just not head all the way into the wall. Thankfully, the speeds that time weren't quite high enough to spend an end to his day, but a rough race seems to get just a little bit rougher.
Jack Clemens, who's already pulled out 6/10 over John Ross, is going to have some lap cars coming up in the near future. He's got 3 of them all right next to each other. Terry Fennell, Frank Chavez, and Chris Gaskell, all from 9th to 11th, and are all getting reeled in pretty quickly here by that 2 car. Maybe that lap traffic can help bring John Ross back to him, or maybe the 2 will get it around a lot better and he'll be able to pull away. We'll see here as we take 79 to go this next time around. We're almost at lap 100.
Sean Dunway is giving us a bit of a repeat class of what we saw not too many laps ago. I'm seeing usually a 200ths is one thing, a 2/10 is one thing, 1/10 is another, and this time Andrew Teft moves up a lane and gives Sean Dunway the place. I don't know whether this was a full concede. We'll see how he approaches the next corner. Oh, it's just not very fast. I think tyre differentials are becoming so clear right now, and the drivers that have saved their stuff just a little better are rising to the top.
Yeah, Sean Dunaway's done a really good job here in the early portion of this race, and I think he'll have something for Jack Clemens. Or excuse me, maybe not Jack Clemens. He'll definitely have something for John Ross here in the 44 before too long, as Clemens starts his way of making his way through these lap cars. Chris Gaskell, first one down there in the 707. Now he's got Frank Chavez here, and he's got Terry Fennell as well. Terry Fennell is that yellow 50 car. He goes up the road, and now it's just going to be Frank Chavez there. These 3 are actually racing for position, so this is going to be a move for 10th for Chris Gaskell back there in the 707. Clemens will move the 13 up high too, and that'll bring all these cars closer together. Very easy moves there for Jack Clemens. John Ross maybe having a little more difficulty sliding his way through this pack.
Yeah, this is when it becomes really inconvenient as a lapped car. Really, if you're fighting from a position, you're entitled to make that fight for position. And that just makes it really hard when a leader comes screaming up behind you and you're sort of expected not to wreck them along the way. Have we noticed any gaps between Timothy Eastbrand and Dwayne Davis? Drivers at the back don't always get their due, but they have fun running their races and having some good battles with people. And this has been a battle that's been trading back and forth constantly throughout the race. This is sort of that trade up of lines that I'm used to seeing around here. People.
Oh, caution.
Yeah.
Lap car around. It's the 13 of Frank Chavez.
That's Chavez. Uh-oh. I might have been a solo incident here.
No, it wasn't. Check this out. John Ross just gets into the back of him down the back straightaway.
I commentators curse that one out of existence. What a send. What a punt. I'm curious if race control are gonna have a big impact on this race if they hit that 44, but that's a very, very big shot on a lapped car. They have more angles and more time to review sort of where the cars were going than me, so I trust. I know that Matthew is listening. I trust his judgment here, and I'm almost setting him up. I'm setting him up here for failure. EOL issued.
We will see if one gets issued there for that 44 car as everybody makes their way down pit road. Chavez has a lot of rear end damage, but if you remember from his first wreck early on in the race, he did not take that faster pair. So he's still got a faster pair waiting for him back in the pits. If John Ross does get an EOL, that'll be devastating for a car who has led so much of this race.
Yeah, I misheard
we will see who makes it out of the. We will see who makes it out of the pits first here. You're all good, Howie. Coming out first, it will be Jack Clemens. He gets it over John Ross. And then it'll be Sean Dunaway, Andrew Teft, and Jeffrey Goodpaster. So same top 5 as when we went in.
Had someone ask, is there going to be an EOL for that? And I just sort of like, when you're a busy person, you're iRacing in your rear, you just think, oh, that's a proclamation. I'm jumping the gun now. Now, for some reason I'm accidentally making the decisions. Keeping an eye on the log It is Terry Fennell with an end-of-line penalty. Oh, also a black flag for Chris Gaskell. I think that was on pit entry.
I believe that was on pit entry there for Chris Gaskell. Let's see. He's going to come in. I'm not sure. We'll see if he does a stop and go here. If maybe it was last time. No.
I mean, he's probably going to be held here because I see the black flag on him. That is an incredible pit view. I'm really proud that all it does is see pit. I mean, he's asking for a clear. Actually, it could have been. It's a passing under yellow. So
that would make sense.
Just give race control more to do. Just give race control more to do.
Yeah, that would check out there for that 707 car to Chris Gaskell. He was ahead of a couple cars there. He passed Andrew Teft and Goodpaster. He was being scored in 9th. He came into the pits as the 4th car in line, which is likely going to be what caused that penalty there for him getting shook up in the order somehow. And we'll see if they give him that penalty or not, or if Chris Gaskell is going to be in a world of hurt when we go back green. I would like to mention here, I opened a fortune cookie on the last caution, and it said success and wealth are in your future. One of these drivers is going to make that fortune come true at the end of the race. Right now, I would say the early favorite, maybe the lucky number here, is the 2 of Jack Clemens over John Ross back there in the 44. Ross has been quick, but Clemens seems to have a lot of long-run speed. He hasn't had a lot of clear air this race. When he has had it, he's made great work with it, but he hasn't had it over a full run. So we'll see if that, too, is able to claim that success and wealth in his future here after this restart. It'll be him and Ross entering the restart zone, and it's a great jump for Clemens as we go back green.
Dunway didn't even move second car in that row, and that's bogged up the whole field. Fresh tyres, and I think John Ross is done playing friendly. He's going to run side by side. He wants to be clear at the start of this run. He wants to say that on the short run, he's the faster driver, and he slots right in. No clear for Chris Gaskell, and it looks like John Ross is going to be able to keep this place. Sean Dunry has been able to stay within some range. A car running really high there. Goodpaster. That's a little bit higher than usually runs on this track. Now dives to the bottom. Doesn't quite get anything special done there.
No, Goodpaster is another one of those cars we've seen kind of struggle with tire wear on the long run. He's trying to make his way back up through the field. Sliding back right now on the short run. This is the time where he wants to be on it. He's not going quite as well as he would want it to go.
Gaskell now serving that penalty. Had to serve it under green, of course, so dropped to the back of the field. iRacing passing under yellow can be an evil penalty, let me tell you that. It can be very, very cruel. We've all been hit. Sean Dunway is the fastest lap, a 23.8. Laps are going to get faster over the course of this race, but that's the first 23.8 on the whole track. Is this Hello Kitty car hiding a real winner?
This is an evening race here, so the time is progressing. We're getting later into the evening, and the track is going to get cooler and cooler, down to 86 degrees here from about 90 at the start of the race, as you see Gags will pull his way out of the pits. Multiple laps down in that 707 car. Dunaway takes a peek to the inside of Jack Clemens in the 2. Doesn't have anything for him here. I think these two, the 2 and the 01, are the best long-run cars in the field. So if we stay green, watch for them to make moves. Dunaway is trying to make one move right now. He's not clear as he tries to get to the inside of Jack Clemens.
Dunway has become surprisingly fast, surprisingly quickly, and he's looking to take the battle up to the top. Held the bottom well, both cars almost touching but not quite. This time is a better entry on the inside line. That will clear for now. 44 of Ross is flying away, but we did see what happened last run. He dropped off near the end, and a winner was crowned of that stage, if we can really call it that. I think Dunway wants to play that same game. He's seen what's going on. He's learned what makes his car tick. He started in 13th. He could he could take this away from the pole sitter.
He's certainly going to try, because I think that 0-1, just like Jack Clemens, has gotten faster and faster over the course of that race. That car has really become dialed in. You have to wonder if with him running the fastest lap, he's maybe throwing caution to the wind a little bit on these tires versus Jack Clemens, who seems to be running a bit more of a conservative line here down into 1 and 2. Right now it's working for Dunaway, but only time will tell if he can keep this speed up long enough to pass John Ross and pull away for the lead, or if these quick, aggressive lap times will chew up these tires before he's able to lead a lap.
You're right, this could just be a tire-burning chase, but maybe he's realised if he gets in front, stays in front, he can hold it. Fascinating duel here between two drivers. John Ross failed to save the tyres last time, whereas Sean Dunaway, he has to be over-pushing this. You're right, he just has to be over-exerting to suddenly become this fast this quickly. And that could also open up Jack Clemens. We've obviously not seen much of this run, but was incredibly successful in the last one. I think this is a bit of a three-player game, and, well, surprises have been around every turn so far in this race as well.
Yeah, Clemens is kind of under threat back there right now from Andrew Taft as Dunaway continues to close in on John Ross. That car is not far away. I'm taking a little bit of a look-see at Clemens' lap times. He's not running that far off. He's a little slower here by about a tenth and a half on a lot of these laps than he was last run. And that might be the difference. I wonder if he is trying to go full save mode here. But it's such an interesting play because what he did last run very clearly worked because he took the lead. We'll see what Clemens is able to do here as laps continue to run down and Dunaway continues to try to get around John Ross. He's in the same position that 2-car was in last run where he is fast, he's on the bumper. He just needs to get the moves to stick.
It's that final 10% at Aya where we've seen it struggle so much. And I think they may have just had a wreck. Steve Cassell, what happened to him? He was running quite fast, and he's got a meatball flag sitting in the pit lane right now.
We will see what happens.
Here we go.
So he's rolling through 3 and 4 right now. We'll come back out onto the front straightaway. I wonder if he just lost it, just hit the wall and had something go wrong in that 51 car. We'll see. He's running behind Frank Chavez in the 13. He's had some problems today as well. No, he's loose out of 2. And there it goes. Big hit to the inside wall for Castle. And he'll... Oh, that's the worst one. That's what killed the car.
Few other things have been kicking off while we caught up on that. This was premeditated. John Ross again giving the P1 up and saying on the mic, you can have this, Sean Dunaway. That makes a change of leader. And what is Barry Nelson towing to the pits for? A difficult entry. I think he might have just given up his day. Yes, we return back to live. Sean Dunaway running away. John Ross thinking he might be able to run him down on tyres.
Yeah, while we were getting a replay of that accident, Sean Dunaway got a move done for the lead. Just got a good run into 3 and went straight up the inside. John Ross didn't fight him too hard. Figures maybe it'll come back to him here in about 10 or 20 laps on the tires. You've got a little more leeway to push hard now that the track temp continues to go down. But how hard can you push before it comes back to bite you? Sean Dunaway might find that out here. Caution will fly. Eastbrand and Fennell are wrecked hard.
That is not what I like to see in a stock car. Oh, 2 meatballs, Eastbrand and Fennell. And
this is similar to what happened to Eastbrand in his first wreck this race. He's just going to tag the wall out of the corner, shoot across the racetrack, and it'll be a big hit for both drivers. You'll see him into the wall at a 4, straight down into the left rear of the 50, and they are both head on into the wall.
Just hooked him. I mean... What's weird, I mean, there's still a fast repair to go. I don't really know how you penalise something like this because his brand might just quit out of the race on the spot, on the face of it. But, oh, that sucks. What an unlucky day to be hooked this many times by other cars, and another one not going your way, and another reset of the field and more tires.
Yeah, my headphones cut out there for a second there. I have to imagine Eastbrand will be our 6th DNF of the race. Steve Casel, Blake Davis, Jack Kelly, Barry Thomas, and Terry Fennell. Actually, Barry Nelson, too. So I guess that's going to be our 7th DNF of the race here for Timothy Eastbrand. Field is very much starting to shrink now. I think we've only got about 10 cars.
10 cars for 20 minutes and 50 laps is John Ross in the first pit box. Wasn't the first into the lane, but he's going to be the first out. Dunway has a much slower entry into the pits, and that P1 has been traded right back where it started.
It will be an EOL for Timothy Eastbrand, but I cannot imagine that car is going to come back out on the track here anytime soon. As you said, John Ross will get that lead back, and he will try once again to defend it here at Iowa. He's been passed on both of the last 2 runs, so maybe this one with 50 to go will be what does it for him. It's going to be green all the way to the end here on fuel. You're not going to have to pit again unless you want to play maybe some tire strategy. So this is going to be wide open, a brawl for the last 50 laps.
Wanted to check whether or not there was a blunder on the pit boxes. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it was just an excellent run in and out by John Ross, and that's turned this into a duel yet again. And now there might not be time to give up this P1 and try and get him back later, because yep, we do intend on racing flat out to the end. If there's more cautions, drivers might be starting to run out of tires as well. Worth a consideration. That 13 car is going to get a wave around. That'll put it down at 2 laps rather than 3. Timothy Eastbrand sitting in the pits 4 down. He is going to sit there until that engine explodes. Just you watch. And that makes the rest of us on the lead lap.
Frank Chavez is actually going to get back on the lead lap here with this wave around. So he will go to 10th. He will go to being the last car on the lead lap. He's still holding that faster pair too. Not the race he has wanted, but he's got the faster pair. Maybe he could turn it around here with some strategy late in this race. John Ross got the lead out of the pits because he had a 1 second shorter time down pit lane compared to Sean Dunaway. Just a great job by him of getting into and out of the box. And that is what is going to ultimately give him the lead. And if he can keep it up here, maybe even the win of the race in that 44 car. We're going to go double file here down the back straightaway as we get ready to go back green this time. It'll be John Ross on the inside, Sean Dunaway in second. Rest of your top 10, aka the only 10 cars on the lead lap, will be Jack Clemens, Andrew Teft, Jeffrey Goodpaster, Dennis Kane, Steve Sizemore, David Shively, Dwayne Davis, and Frank Chavez. Pace car will pull in out of 4. What kind of run will John Ross get as we hit the restart zone? We're green at Iowa.
Jack Clemens is back in the game after that sluggish run from the outside lane. And Jeffrey Goodpaster hasn't been a contender for the win or race, but he's going to pass our previous win contender here, Sean Dunway. He's been sent back out to 4th. Not much time remaining. Every lap's going to count now.
And Goodpaster is on it. He's up to the inside of Jack Clemens now for P2. That 6 car wants to make the move here to get himself up to the highest position he's been since the very start of this race. If you remember, he started in P2. He's struggled since. This would be a return for Goodpaster if he can get the spot. Right now, Clemens is doing a great job of defending on the high side, and he will get back clear of the 6.
Fastest lap, it's Jack Clemens. He was a really tough fighting force earlier, dropped back in the middle of the race, but now John Ross ain't going to give up these positions for anything. People are going to make moves to win this race, and I think Goodpaster has been sitting in the wings the whole time, and it's absolutely a viable contender now to take this win. 4 up front. Dunway's losing a little bit of touch. He's going to need to burn up his stuff like he did last run, I think, in order to make it up the pack. This could go any way at all, but it's going to take a lot of effort to move on these cars out of the way. Jack Clemens fastest again.
First to fourth on a pit stop and a restart is not at all what Sean Dunaway envisioned there when he was holding that lead with 60 to go. Clemens continues to hold off Goodpaster. It's an early drop down to the inside through 3 and 4. Might wear up those tires a little more, but it'll also hold the spot for him as he's now closer to Ross than Goodpaster. Can Jack Clemens steal the lead back, or will John Ross just continue to lead more and more laps? 43 to go here at Iowa.
Here is our 4 for the win. Not much has moved yet, but moving up the track a bit was Jack Clemens. I thought a faster Goodpaster would have been able to charge up that inside and do something quite ridiculous, but exactly on brand. He seems to be getting these lower runs out of corners. I don't know if it's converting to speed. Real check up in the middle of the corner there by John Ross. That has sent the whole pack closer together again.
See what Dunaway can do. He took a little bit of a peek to the inside there, dropped down pretty quick, but he wasn't able to get any sort of run that he would need to actually get back around Goodpaster, who is now going to take his own shot at Jack Clemens in the 2. Got to the right rear there, but had to back out going down into the corner, and he stays in 3rd. John Ross is facing the stiffest competition that he's faced all race here, and it comes on what might be the last run. Goodpaster is going to go high to low to set up the move on Jack Clemens. Classic short track maneuver out of that 6 car, but he doesn't get enough to get the spot.
It feels like we have a whole race yet to go, yet you look at the time left, 15 minutes, you realize there's barely anything at all. I'm going to be fascinated to see at the end of the run who just went a little bit over the line on tires. Jack Clemens, 1 line above the bottom. I have the feeling this is going to spell the end of this P2 for a bit. That Toyota Supra of Goodpaster holding the inside. It took over a lap, though, for him to actually gain any purchase. This side-by-side running is giving Ross the running away he wants. Clemens holds it on the outside.
This is exactly what John Ross needs to get himself clear out in front of these cars. Dunaway taking some really aggressive lines into this corner, continuing to drop it down pretty hard on entry, but it's not translating into time. He might need to do what we've seen that 6 car do and set up a move. He's not going to bother with that. He'll dive right back in into 1, and this time the 6 car will move up the track enough to let Dunaway have a look. Doesn't work. Goodpaster trying to use that high line to get a run out and set up the move on Jack Clemens, but nobody is able to make a pass, and we're all stuck in position in the top 4.
John Ross is loving this. He's loving every last bit of this because this battling is doing nothing but slow these cars down. I've been waiting for this middle line to work, and this is what I saw on Friday. Please don't curse me here by immediately outrunning him on the inside. Show me what you mean. I think Clemens has run a little bit too high for the case study. He ran so high in the tri-oval that Clemens has given it up. I do think Dunaway now, that too is just running higher and higher and higher. Almost contact there with the 0-1. Dunaway sort of coming back into this, or it might just be the 2 dropping back. A big slide by Dunaway on exit, though. Sort of takes him out of there. Yeah, Clemens is dropping. Clemens has used too much of those tires. It feels like it's over for him.
Clemens might have cooked it here. He's going to try to get back to the inside on Dunaway. Doesn't want to let that 3rd spot go away yet. This is pretty good for Goodpaster here because he's about half a second clear up to 2nd as these two continue to do battle for 3rd, but it is Clemens prevailing on the top. Excuse me, it's Dunaway prevailing on the top. It's Clemens losing that spot back to 4th. And the 0-1 car will have to re-rack here and try to get that time that he lost right back.
Seems like this has settled down just a little. I'm including the time of the last 3 laps of these top 2 drivers on the bottom of your screen. We can track how the gap has moved. It's very, very small gains, and eventually we'll see a trend, I think, develop in one of those two drivers that will help secure that. Meanwhile, on board with Clemens here as he shifts through the corners as the sun starts to set down the hills and behind the grandstands here at Iowa Speedway. Little bit close to the wall, maybe even side draft off the back of it, but this really has become a sprint to the end. 31 to go. Sounds like it's an eternity, but you know these cars, they're done in 25 seconds.
31 to go here. It's only about 15 minutes more of racing, so you've got to make the moves quick. And that is exactly what Dunaway is trying to do, as he'll get down to the inside of Goodpaster through 1 and 2. Will he have enough here, or will that 6 prevail on the top? He's not done a bad job of running that high line here in the later stage of this race, but a big dive from that 01 Hello Kitty car, and maybe a bit of a slide job here on exit are going to get Sean Dunaway P2. Goodpaster immediately back to the inside. He wants the spot as John Ross continues to run away from this battle for second.
Holding each other up a little bit more, but if you looked at the long run pace when Dunaway took over that P2 position on the tracker, he's the faster driver than John Ross. Well, no, he's the faster driver than Goodpaster at chasing down John Ross. He had some laps that were plenty better than Ross. Now he's in clean air. Now the laps are starting to just stop developing. Keep an eye on that. Andrew Teft is a name we've not said in a while in that 98 car, but you know, one thing about him, he's taking advantage of these circumstances. I think Goodpaster's lost those tyres. They've fallen off a cliff, and all of a sudden, Teft is in with a shout for a top 3.
Yeah, we didn't hear much from Teft in the early stages of this run. He was pretty heavily saving behind the wheel of that 98 car, but maybe he's saved enough to steal the lead back. Will that car come alive at just the right time, or will John Ross continue to run away? Right now, Teft doesn't seem to have the lap times that he would need to get up to these top 2, but he's going to do the best he can with what he's got, and he was very slightly faster than Sean Dunaway that last time around. So he's running laps in the ballpark of these top 3 here, even if he's not explicitly faster just yet. He's still got 26 more laps for the tires to swing in his direction as the sun continues to go down. We'll see if he's able to close in.
Dunaway's not making distance, and in fact he's losing it. A second's gap between him and John Ross means that the only thing that would slow down John Ross's run is an accident, either for himself in the worst case or down the road to force a restart. He did give up those positions earlier on, but he certainly didn't want to lose this race. It was tactical. He thought he'd get them back, and things have fallen his way. Now, between Dunaway and Clemens, P2 has become its own battleground. I thought that Clemens had dropped off a cliff, and well, when it comes to taking on the leader, he very much could have, but Pace has come back now to try and get this P2.
He has come back now to try to get that position in line at the moment. Clemens, we saw him lead quite a bit here, kind of towards the middle stages of this race, but since that run he got out front, just hasn't seemed to have what it takes to get back up there to the lead, and he is struggling at the moment. Sean Dunaway has gone from, problems for, I think Jeffrey Goodpaster had a moment all the way down the length of the back straightaway. We get a replay on that. He about Tokyo drifted for a solid quarter of a mile. He's going to get loose out of here. It's going to be the next time around for this 6 car of Jeffrey Goodpaster, but he'll get loose rolling out of 2, and he will just drift literally the entire back straightaway, and it will cost him a lot of time, and I'm honestly a bit surprised he didn't go around in the process, because it was a moment for the 6. We'll see it coming out of the corner here as he makes a move up high, gets out from under him loose, tries to switch it back, still loose, tries to go back into the corner, still loose, and he finally saves it, gets it down to the bottom there.
I should have had an on-demand initial D button. What was I thinking not preparing it for today? That's a shame for his run, but it's a very, very, very good save to his race. Imagine going down with 20 to go and 8 minutes of running. Now, here's how quickly lap cars show up on this track. They're all here already. Dunway and Clemens still dueling it out for this P2 position, about the only meaningful battle left on this track to settle down, but a lot of lap cars in the way.
Two cars going to have to navigate that lap car. Luckily, that will be the Dwayne Davis 27 machine going his first lap down, and he will get way out of the racetrack. He will go high, and we will have no issues here with these leaders. Next car up, Frank Chavez. He's also going to go a lap down here in that 13 car. Maybe should have taken the faster pair. I don't think this race has played out how he wanted. Ooh, a little close there with Sean Dunaway as he used every inch of the track he could down the straightaway. Doesn't end up working for him. As John Ross continues to navigate this lap traffic, Jack Clemens is getting closer and closer. The gap was a second. It's now down to 9/10.
That is closer, but do you think that the gap's going to be enough to claim the win by the end of the race? Or do you think those 2 tenths were made up for by lap traffic? We'll find out here on the tracker. Very small gains, but it is not here at all. He's going to need some serious gains in order to chase down and pass this dominant car.
Yeah, he's been getting there slowly, but like you said, too little, too late. Another half second there for Jack Clemens. Only going to be, 15 to go? He's going to need a little bit more than that if he wants to catch John Ross. Ross might be struggling a little bit on the tires. The lap traffic definitely didn't help. But unless Clemens can find another gear, it looks like that 44 car should bring it home if we stay green. Lap times across the line. It's another half a tenth for Clemens. He's not out of it yet, but he needs a little more in that too.
I mean, you might be able to find another gear like Talladega Nights, but I propose that here at Iowa, you're probably not going to get to use it for very long down that straight. But I am picturing Ricky Bobby now, and that's what the sport I'm going to go to sleep with tonight. So thank you very much. I want to go fast. Do you think he would have liked Martinsville?
Ricky Bobby? Oh no, he'd hate that place.
Had to do it twice a year.
Maybe he'd like getting in the accidents there more than he'd like racing it. Hey, big swing for Jack Clemens the last 2 laps. It was a 10th last time around. We'll track him across the line this time for you. We'll see what he is now. It's another pretty good chunk taken out of the lead. Oh, it's almost 2 tenths for Jack Clemens. We're going to have a race for the win. Here comes the 2 car.
This is like the good kind of commentator's curse. When you say something's not going to happen, that actually it happening makes things a lot more exciting and doesn't ruin anybody's day. It's like the best kind of commentator's curse of them all. 4 tenths. How much are we going to get out of this next lap? Another 1.5. What happened to John Ross here in the long run? He went from fast to glacial, and with 10 to go, Jack Clemens will do anything to get this place done and will find other spots on this track. Talk about a turnaround. It's going to be another epic gain across the lap this time. Pretty much a 10th. We can round up for that one. I'm shocked here. This is a very, very fast chase.
Clemens has found another gear in this 2 car. He's come alive when it matters the most. He's running similar lap times to what he was running about 20 laps ago. He's not fallen off at all behind the wheel of this 2, whereas John Ross has. And now Clemens is going to dive up the inside here with 10 to go. And it is easy for Jack Clemens, your new leader with 10 to go at Iowa.
Started 9th. Was fast all race, and he might have just taken an epic steal around here. Could also be a fuel game. I think there are tyres in this, or the race control's being sort of given his thoughts here. Might be fuel or tyres. It could be very much tyres. He did just sort of give it up. I'm going to listen up into the engine. Not really fuel saving, so I think it really is a tyre game. I think John Ross burned up his stuff, and I think Jack Clemens has just made it look easy. I was calling out Jack Clemens for using up his tyres early. Turns out I'm stupid. Put a clown nose on me right now. It's called saving the tyres, actually. turns out he did the opposite of the thing I said he did.
So here's the difference. On lap 142, John Ross ran a 24.4. On lap 162, 20 laps later, he ran a 24.7. About 0.3 of a difference there for those two cars. On the other hand, Jack Clemens on lap 142 ran a 24.532. On lap 162, a 24.548. He ran nearly identical lap times there 20 laps later because he was so committed to saving those tires, and he did a great job of managing them for the long run. And that is ultimately what got him around John Ross and what is giving him this lead with 6 to go. That 44 car is trying to fight back, but I'm not sure if he'll have enough.
I definitely don't think that's going to happen. 3 tenths, 4 tenths, there's small little margins in here. Oh, did I say it? And now we're going to get another buzzer beater. Let's bring back the graphic to see what's going to happen. I think this is actually going to be a faster lap for John Ross, but we'll keep an eye on 1 or 2 more. Oh, that gap is now. We're consistently seeing the 2s. I'm going to go to bed tonight with a migraine if this turns out to be an epic chase to the end. Let me tell you that. That bubble isn't really being pierced. I think it will take a mistake. Now, we've been watching the P1 for the whole race. I don't like watching the P1 for the whole race, so I will, a lot of this race is strung out. One more battle happening at the same time. It's Jeffrey Goodpaster. We saw him drop off. Oh, I said that Dennis Kane, I was going to say that Dennis Kane was going to pass him, but that is not how you take that turn.
5th is, I think, the highest we've seen Dennis Kane all night. That 4 car has been pretty steady, about 6th to 10th, but he's gotten that thing up to 5th now after the issue for Goodpaster. 3 to go here at Iowa, and John Ross is not really getting any closer. Clemens was half a tenth up that last time around in this 2 car. It's going to come to 2 to go, and it looks like he's doing what he needs.
All it's going to take now is a minute of concentrated driving without doing something stupid, which should, for most people out here on the Track and Races Elite, be pretty easy. Jack Clemens, what a comeback chase. Only really John Ross held on to top positions. P3 started in 13th. Jack Clemens started in 9th and really took advantage of the multiple cautions in this race in order to take this lead. Final lap. White
flag out that last time across the line, and John Ross is not getting any closer. Jack Clemens has about half a mile left to go here at Iowa. He heads down into 3 and 4. The checkered flag is waving on the front straightaway. Jack Clemens comes around to take it at Iowa.
What a win. He dropped in and made it happen on exactly the moment that counted. Good chases the whole way up the field, really, to be honest. It proves that even a small field can produce good racing on a good track.
That was a great one here tonight, and it will ultimately be Jack Clemens getting to burn it down by 3 tenths over John Ross here at Iowa. I'm going to let you listen to him burn it down.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
We are back here on Maconi Entertainment after 175 laps at Iowa with Racers Elite. Jack Clemens brings it home. John Ross finishes second. Sean Dunaway third. Andrew Teft fourth. Dennis Kane fifth. Jeffrey Goodpasser sixth. David Shively seventh. Steve Sizemore eighth. Those are your only lead lap cars. Frank Chavez ninth. Dwayne Davis 10th. We are going to get straight into interviews here, and we're going to call into the booth our race winner tonight. That is the 2-car of Jack Clemens. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing good.
Pretty good. We kind of counted you out there for a second on that last run, but you kicked it into a new gear with the tire saving and found your way to victory lane. How'd you pull it off?
Yeah, so I was trying to commit to the tire saving bit, trying to get down to that, the bottom line, and trying to, because the setup built pretty tight, so I was trying to get it on the right rear so I could have turn later in the run. But that last restart, I didn't fire off really well. I think I fell back to around 4th or 5th. So I just spent, 5-10 laps trying to cool the right rear back down, save my stuff up a little more. Because I knew the previous few runs, the leaders came back to me. So I know if I just stayed disciplined with saving my stuff, I would have a decent shot at getting back up to the front.
And tell me about some of your earlier battles, too, because you had that lead a bit towards the midpoint of the race before it kind of fell away from you for a second.
Yeah, I've just the way I drive. If I try to go too hard and get it on the right front, I just start going backwards. So I just have to keep telling myself to just commit to the bit, keep saving saving the right side tires. And but yeah, everybody raced hard, clean. It was really, really fun battling up front. John, Sean were both really, really fast, and I think I might have timed it perfectly with the way I saved my tires, because I think John started catching me towards the end, so I think I actually might have burnt up my right front a little bit too much in those last 10 laps, but I know it was a lot of fun.
So when we started this broadcast, the first thing that we showed right after we did our intro was actually you spinning out in qualifying.
Oh, yeah.
How did you recover from what was not a great qualifying effort to kind of buckle down and get it back to the win?
Yeah, once because obviously it's pretty hard to pass here with the new repave. There's so much grip on the new asphalt, but that top lane is really no longer viable. There's no grip up there compared to the new pavement. So I had to capitalize on restarts, because those were going to be some of the easiest passes I could get when we're all bunched up. And then once everybody kind of got in line and we started settling down, I was just going to commit to my not driving slow but saving tires, but running a line that might not be as fast, but definitely going to take some of the load off the right front.
All right, anyone you have to thank tonight, Jack?
I just want to shout out Commonwealth Crew Racing, and thank you guys for broadcasting and everybody else for racing. It was a lot of fun.
All right, congrats on the win tonight, Jack Clemens.
Thank you.
Bringing it home in P2 and catching up with our Howie Burrows, it's John Ross.
Oh, hello. Yeah, it's funny because the tires, they did give up throughout the run. You could see the pace drop throughout the run, but it didn't really matter how soft or hard you drove the car. It just seemed to wear similar for everybody. and it looked like Jack was doing really good on longer runs. And then I would have runs. It felt like to me when I got a little overcast, I felt more comfortable with the car. And then when the sun come out, I seemed to fall back to everybody. So the first run was good. I mean, it was a ton of fun. I mean, you've seen Jack was there, Sean was up there, Andrew was up front all race long, Jeffrey was in and out. It was a ton of fun. Well, yeah. I let Jack go a few times, especially on that last run. He caught me from, I don't know, he was over a second behind and he caught me pretty quick. So I knew he was going to be quick. So my thought process was, if I let Jack go, I can settle in and maybe Sean won't have enough time to catch me. And then when he passed me, I seen that Sean started to fall back a little bit. So I said, you know what, the heck with it. I'm just going to drive it to the end and see what happens. And I was able to pull back close to him. But yeah, throughout the run, like if somebody's faster than me, we could sit there and arm wrestle for the position, or we could fall in line and let the tires play out. It's a long race, 175 laps. Wasn't any point in racing that hard. Yeah, I want to thank you all for putting this on. I know this was kind of last minute, so thank you very much for broadcasting it. Really enjoy those when we go back to watch it. Andrew, for Racers Elite and everything that they do, they run 4 nights a week on regular series, but then they have these specialty events. So make sure that you reach out to racerselite.com and you check them out, my Adrenaline teammates, and congrats to Jack for the win and Sean for the 3rd position. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. P3 tonight. We saw you running up there in the lead for a while, but after the restart, it wasn't to be. Walk me through that.
Yeah, John had gotten the jump out of pit road. I started on that second lane for that last stint there, and I don't like that second lane for sure. I definitely like being on the bottom, and because of that, I had to let 2 other cars go at that time. So yeah, maybe I lost that then. Tried to run them down, but even like my line near the end there wasn't really working anymore. Because I was like running this shallow line this whole time, and then all of a sudden I was kind of washing up in the corners, so unfortunately couldn't catch them in the end, but I'll take a P3 for sure.
Yeah, this track's a little difficult to pass, but you still did manage to go 13-3. How'd you get that done?
Yeah, I actually went 17-3, by the way, because I asked for an end of line.
There you go, even better.
But yeah, it was just something to build the skills up. I really like doing that during these sorts of races. So built some skill for sure. Kind of got to understand the track a bit more. You definitely want to save the tires throughout that long run. And yeah, I managed to do it there.
All right, anyone you have to thank tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife, my mom and stepdad for always watching, and then my cats for always trying to ruin my race here.
All right, congrats on 3rd place tonight, Sean Dunaway.
Yep, thanks, guys.
That'll be the end of our coverage here tonight from the Racers Elite League Xfinity race here at Iowa. Make sure you like and subscribe to Maconi Entertainment. And if you want a little more racing, we got the full-length Cup Challenge on right now. They've got about 100 to go. They're also running at Iowa, so maybe head over there if you're looking for a little bit more racing action. For me and Howie up here in the booth, for everyone back at Maconi and Racers Elite,